Good afternoon. This is Jim Whitehead. How are you? I hope you're doing well. I'm usually doing very well. We always want to make sure everybody's doing okay. All our animals are doing okay. All right, today I'm kind of reintroducing where I would be picking animals from the past that I grew up with. And some of you being, I'm 75, so a lot of you would say, I don't know who you're talking about. Well, it's kind of a benefit of twofold here of where for those that are, in the 60s, give or take, baby boomers, they would be like, oh yeah, I remember Trigger. And then there's others who would go, what are you talking about? So it's kind of neat that I can either both have people relive something from their younger days, but also have it where I introduce a wonderful animal to everybody, a reintroduction or a new introduction. Anyway, this is Trigger. Trigger was one of the most famous horses in entertainment history, renowned for as the trusty Palomino companion of cowboy star Roy Rogers. Now, you'll see in a minute, but it was both Roy Rogers and Dale Evans, his wife. And they were a heck of a team. And this was a show that I watched and watched and watched and always watched reruns. But anyway, as I said, the Roy Rogers show was a neat show. The original name of Trigger, who was born on July 4th of 1934, he was originally named Golden Cloud. No, I didn't even know that. So the neatest thing, besides, as I said, introducing to those who've never heard of it, but others that have basically did remember this, but there's some little things that we didn't know. So bottom line, I never knew Trigger was, the name before Trigger was Golden Cloud. Don't know exactly why or how, but it's okay with me. His sire was a thoroughbred, and his dam was believed to be a quarter horse mix, giving him a distinctive Palomino coat. Now, a lot of this, and the point and why I'm doing where you're seeing black and white, a lot of this was black and white. Now, in today's world, and you'll see a little bit later in my presentation, that, they colorize and, of course, can create in images, Trigger, but where, of course, he can show his beautiful color. But back then, a lot of it was black and white, and that was it. And we didn't get our first color TV until 1964. And so, I was born in 49, so bottom line, about 15 years, I watched everything in black and white. And of course, if you're saying, oh, wow, that must have been terrible, if you hadn't really seen color yet, it wouldn't have it where you get into where, whoa, that's kind of weird. but it's black and white. So there is Roy and Trigger. And, the neatest thing, we love our animals. It is so exciting. Excuse me. It's so exciting to see shows from that time back then, that, had animals. And animals were the stars, actually. And I, since I love animals, that seemed to fit real well. So, early career, before his legendary partnership with Roy Rogers, Golden Cloud had an early film role as Maid Marian's horse in The Adventures of Robin Hood in 1938. Again, I didn't know that either. And in 1938, he was ridden by Olivia de Havilland, which is pretty interesting. Now, what you're seeing is Roy's, I'm pretty sure his wife, but they were together, and it would be Roy Rogers and Dale Evans. And again, here we go with black and white. Anyway, meeting Roy Rogers chose Golden Cloud from a selection of horses, immediately recognizing his intelligence and agility. Rogers reportedly said the horse would turn on a dime and he'd give you 9 cents change. That's a good little saying. I'm going to try to remember that. Anyway, you can use it too. So, say, hey, it's kind of neat. His sidekick, Smiley Burnett, suggested the name Trigger due to its quickness, and the name stuck. One of the smartest horses in the movies, Trigger was incredibly well trained, learning over 100 tricks. He could walk 50 feet on his hind legs, untie ropes, and count, do the hula, and even sign his name with an X. Now, if that isn't a star to feel very excited about getting to know, I don't know what else to say. But again, just so we don't miss, you're looking at Dale Evans, and she was again with Roy, and it was a wonderful team. And they had a show every week, and of course Trigger was the main event. He was known for his showmanship, often bowing for applause. Now, stardom and legacy. Trigger starred alongside Roy Rogers in nearly 90 films and 100 episodes of The Roy Rogers Show. He became an icon, inspiring a love of horses in many baby boomers. Now, I'm sure you've heard the term baby boomer. Those were in what we're describing, the definition, and I fit into it, that we were born either, right after World War II. World War II pretty much ended in 1945. So you'd say those that were born from about 1946 to 1950, give or take, were considered baby boomers. and I'm a baby boomer. And I guess I'm proud of it. I might as well be, right? What else do I have to do? Now, what you're seeing here is, you see the black and white that you already seen, but I just wanted to give you on the lower right another image of what Trigger would look like in real life. Either way, they're beautiful. And I think all animals are beautiful. He had his hoof prints, I mean, this shows how famous he is, enshrined alongside Roy's footprints at Grauman's Chinese Theater. How did they get him there? That's a very interesting point. Maybe they just did it and then the cement somewhere and then took it into the Chinese Theater. Now, doubles. And we always want to get into ensuring that a double looks the same, but, has it where in the event that Trigger, the real Trigger, is not feeling well or has already spent a lot of time, because they, as you know, with animals, thank goodness, they have a certain limit as to how much time and what they can do, because really there's no point in feeling that they're a horse, so they should have to work for the amount of time that we want them to. So while the original Trigger was a superstar, other Palomino horses such as Little Trigger and Trigger Jr., a Tennessee walking horse named Allen's Gold Zephyr, were used as doubles for stunts and for some personal appearances. The original Trigger was never bred, but Trigger Jr. sired several fowls. Now, there we were colorizing again just to give an idea of what they might have looked like in one of their presentations or one of their opportunities to be in front of a crowd. Now, it always, unfortunately, we all come to an end. Death and preservation. Trigger passed away on July 3rd, 1965, at the age of 30, one day shy of his 31st birthday, due to old age. I've always said this and feel it is very sad that all our animals generally don't live that long. Now, 30 years old, almost 31 years old, that's not bad, but if you think of yourself, if you said, well, I'm 21 and I'm going to live to 31, I mean, you'd be like, wow, that is really creepy. So, yeah, we have them, we love them, and we lose them much too soon. But anyway, rather than bury him, Roy Rogers had Trigger preserved and mounted in his iconic rearing pose. For many years, he was a centerpiece at Roy Rogers and Dale Evans Museum, which moved from Victorville, California to Branson, Missouri. Do I feel it's a great idea where, unfortunately, when Trigger passed away, that they preserved him? I have an issue with that a little bit, but what can I say? This was not my decision. Anyway, the current location. After the museum closed in 2009, the mounted Trigger was auctioned off and acquired by RFD TV. A fiberglass replica of Trigger now stands at the Spirit River Center in Apple Valley, California, near where Roy and Dale Rogers are buried. Now, Trigger remains one of the most recognizable and beloved animal stars in Hollywood's history, and a testament to his intelligence, talent, and the enduring bond he shared with Roy Rogers. Now, we all get into saying dumb animals or something similar to that, or beasts of burden. But how I look at animals, across the board, pretty much, yeah, they don't talk like we do, but they're smart. And there's no reason, to say, well, animals have much smaller brains and, so they're not going to be as smart. No, they're smart. There's nothing related to a animal having a smaller brain. It's just we, in a lot of cases, don't teach them things. I mean, how many years of school did I go through? 12 years of, getting through high school, and then going off to college, and then doing another 2 years in respiratory therapy. So I had education about 18 years. So if you took any animal that we like to talk about, and you'd say, we're going to spend 18 years teaching that particular animal everything and anything. Yeah, they're not going to be able to speak directly, but they will know so much. And the neatest thing, in most cases, animals do not have any mean bones in their body. Even talking about, let's say, pit bulls. A lot of times people go, oh, pit bulls, they're bad. No, not necessarily. I know this is a little bit off topic, but the bottom line, pit bulls too often were raised to fight and be watchdogs. So it wasn't that they're born bad. It's, unfortunately, they were brought up to be not, to be bad, if I can say the word bad. And one last side story before I end up here is when I was in the generator business for 20 plus years. When I was going to see down in Miami a customer, and I think it was a plumbing supply, and they had a generator and they needed it fixed. So I came in, and I went through the gate, and there was a pit bull there. Now, I'm not afraid of animals. I'm not afraid of dogs. I'm not afraid of the bears we have over here. Although, again, I don't go out in the woods and look for them. But what happened was, this pit bull was there to protect the business. It wasn't brought up mean or born mean. It just was where, in so many words, the owner trained this pit bull to ensure that people didn't break into the business and steal plumbing supplies. Now, I walked in, I had opened up a gate, closed the gate, and there was this dog. I think it was a pit bull, And it obviously looked at me and said, "You are not supposed to be here." And it bit me in the butt. Now, did I get upset? No. I just said, this dog is doing exactly what it was taught to do, and that is to protect that business. And foolish me in walking in without being escorted by, let's say, the owner or somebody else that the dog knew that would say, well, I guess they're bringing him in, he's okay. So would I then say pit bulls are bad and mean and awful? No, I said the dog was doing its job. And that's the neatest thing about animals, that they all they want is the love, food, water, and I really feel honestly they want it to have a purpose. And that could be so very different. As much as human beings want a purpose, animals do too. So, I think I've gone over this enough, and I hope today you've enjoyed my talking about Roy Rogers, Dale Evans, and their famous Trigger. Anyway, thank you for being here, and I appreciate everything that you do to help me with my business. Thank you very much. Take care.